A broken, dead world. The sickly, sweet smell of death covers the land. And this time it's not even me. Reclamation, a mod pack that starts you in a barren, dead world with no plants, no ores, and no colors outside of this baby poop brown. Truly, a lost land. Although there's also no birch trees here, so maybe this place isn't so irredeemable. And that's what we're here to find out. Can I take this broken dead world and bring it back to life in the next 100 days? Probably not, but just to make things a little bit more interesting, I've also added bloodmoons to this mod pack. These bloodmoons will make the nights far more hostile. So the only real hope that we have of survival is making a bunker. Yeah, that's right. This is another bunker video, since I know you little sickos love those so much. Speaking of sick, now we spawn into a world shattered and desolate. Almost as desolate as my DMs on a Friday night, filled with sorrow and broken dreams. Also, this Minecraft world's pretty bad looking too. As I start to look around, I have to say, this mod pack really does nail the post-apocalyptic nuclear fallout, dead, barren planet kind of vibe. The ground is all salt. We're not going to be able to grow anything. And what's worse is all the oceans and the rivers look like my Gamer Boy bathwater. Although that does get good reviews on Amazon. Speaking of this mod pack, we have a quest style setup here, which should help us survive. Now, it's not mandatory that you do all the quests. You can try to figure out how to bring life back to this world on your own. But if you do finish the quests, there's a lot of little perks here, like you get some bread, and maybe the most important thing of all, we get a fishing rod. So we are definitely going to be doing every quest that we can. With no ores in this world, we need all the help we can get. Honestly, I think I'd rather die than have copper be my primary metal. But YouTube does need another video, so here we go. Step 1, still like always, is punching down a tree for logs. But even this is going to be a challenge in this mod pack. See, the dead logs don't turn into planks, but instead into wooden scrap. And you need 4 scrap to get a plank. Basically what all this means is 1 log will turn into only 1 plank. Luckily, the crafting table is still just the same old 4 planks, so at least we have that going for us. Yay. We get our first wooden pick and some torches, which is good because that'll help all of you guys see. By the way, thank you guys so much as always for watching these videos. I know I always end up saying this in almost all my videos, but I really am thinking about you guys and thinking about my viewers whenever I'm playing Minecraft and making any of these videos. And I'm really glad to have you guys as my crew. So again, thank you so much. Okay, alright, but back to actually trying to survive here. We do make our first stone tools, and we do get an entire set of stone tools, because it doesn't look like we're going to be getting iron for a long time. I was right about the copper. The only metal we have for now is these copper blocks, which we can scrape clean with an axe right out of the ruins. So instead of going for a quick little mining trip like I normally would in most of my playthroughs, we're going to be heading out into the wasteland. In our quest book, I see that we should try and make some cutting boards from Farmer's Delight. I definitely want to do this quest as soon as possible, but at the same time, I should probably find a safe space to put the cutting board down. Oh, and also, the sun is starting to set. Remember, I have added blood moons to this mod pack to bring a whole new level of challenge. And just in case we forgot, a blood moon hits us on the first night to remind us. Blood moons make the spawn rate of all the mobs increase by 4 times as much. With no armor in sight, no food for days, this playthrough is over if we can't find a good place to hide right now. Although I don't know how I'm going to find anything in this darkness. Oh my god, like seriously, look at how pitch black this is. I swear I didn't do any editing here. I can only see like 4 blocks right in front of me. I'm lucky I saw this lava, because I would have fallen right into this ravine. And the first mobs are already spawning in. Great. Look, honestly, we don't really have a better option here. We're just gonna have to hide in whatever cave we can find right here. Finally, the Minecraft gods do bless us. They give us a chance here to make it through the night. I quickly block up the walls and seal myself away. So we might as well get comfortable here, start making our cutting board, and try to cut up the copper into something we can actually use. Now that's not my normal Farmer's Delight experience. Normally there's a A lot more diabetes in my cooking. But for now, we do get our next quest done. We can also try and make some machines. And while I must admit, I've never made these before, I have no idea what they are, I can definitely tell that by making these, it would be a really good time to find a final base for us. So, should we stay here? Either way, we should probably get a furnace made, and as I mine up some cobble to make it, I accidentally open up the back side of the cave. Still, I think I'm okay, and I start to craft up the furnace. But I mean, come on now, guys. I think we all know where this is going. And just like a good cheesy horror film, the obviously dumb thing that the main character does is obviously dumb. And just as I start to cook up my stone, the first husks attack. And they're really rushing in here quickly. I don't even have a chance to block them off. And I just have to fight and hope I can keep them knocked back enough. But, once again, the Minecraft gods bless me. Not with brains, no, but with daylight. The blood moon ends, but we aren't safe yet. See, the husks don't burn up in the sun, and this area is full of them. So, as we head up to the surface, we're gonna have to run as fast as we can. For now, the coast is clear, so let's run faster than Dream doing a speedrun, which I guess will get me accused of cheating. Anyway, never mind. The rest of today is spent grabbing wood and copper. I can already see exactly how the early part of this playthrough is gonna work out here. The day is clear and safe. We're gonna have to spend it collecting all of our resources. The nights will be chaos, but if we make a strong enough bunker, we can work throughout the nights with the resources we collected to advance our tech and finish up all of our quests. And once again, I do have to pause all the dad jokes because I have to admit, this mod pack really does nail the Wasteland vibe. Not to mention the fact that the quest isn't some linear mod pack either. There are tons of fun side quests. For example, these bees. You can do a side quest that will help you repopulate this whole world with bees. But not by chopping up the beehive. We'll have to get another tool to do this. For now, I just have to focus on grabbing wood, copper, and trying to find a good place to live. Now the housing market in-game is just about as bad as it is IRL, so I'm not really finding a great spot to live right now. Until I see these mountains. If Vault-Tec has taught me anything, it's that fallout bunkers are best placed in the sides of mountains. But we can do even better, and we should try to make ours close to water. Or at least we're gonna have to try, because the sun is getting pretty low now. Just in the last bit of the dying light trademarked, I see a river right next to a huge mountain. This could be perfect. A mountain for protection and water to act kind of like a moat. Now, I just need to find a good spot in the dark. And yeah, it is like pitch black dark. I can't see more than like 4 blocks ahead of me. The good news is, I think I'm getting close. But the bad news is, this skelly just shredded my health bar in half, and I have no idea where I'm going. Desperately running around with 2 hearts, I just have to start digging in this wall wherever I am. No time to be picky now. But even though that was pretty dangerous and dumb on my part, I think we're actually good. I do manage to clean up the stain in my pants and dig into the side of this cliff. My health bar is still critical and my food supply is completely spent, but I think we're safe for now. I start widening out the cave because I'm starting to realize that this is it. This is going to be our home, whether we like it or not. So we might as well start setting out our basics, including a cutting board. With it, we can now chop up all these dead logs and get quite a few more planks, so it's already pretty nice. Also, I see that we can make a flimsy door, so that definitely should help us with the bunker safety, I hope. What's not so safe is a creeper standing right outside my base. Even in the daylight now, I'm still not safe from these mobs. So, sadly, I have to cave and eat the rotten flesh to get my health back. Yes, I know, that was a great pun because we're living in a cave. And yes, I know, I'm hilarious and you all love me. But be quiet, you guys. I'm trying to figure out how we're not gonna die. Step 1 is turning our stone and our copper into something called a sal ammoniac tank, our first real machine. I decide to set it down over here. This will be our tech side of the cave, for now. Next up, we craft a sal ammoniac accumulator out of basically the same materials. This will go on top of the tank. Apparently, the water outside has trace amounts of sal ammoniac, which definitely sounds way worse for my brain than Tylenol when I'm pregnant, but also, it might be a good thing. The sal ammoniac, not the Tylenol. Anyway, now we just have to get a bucket, and maybe we can. Apparently, you can make a bucket out of copper, but no, of course it's never just that easy, you silly little goobers. See, we need 3 copper and something called caminite. Now you can make caminite and it only takes sand and clay, which is easy, but I'm still lazy. But eventually, sure enough, we do make our caminite. Then we can make our bucket. And now we can move around some water, which is very good. This does mean that now we can do some farming inside of our base. In fact, I actually see that we can get a ton of crops by crossbreeding. And no, contrary to how that sounds, it doesn't mean we're going to be dating a giant cross, although she sounds lovely, but we'll get to all of that later. We still need to get dirt in the first place to do any kind of breeding. And that comes from using our bucket to put some water in the accumulator. You can see all of these little bubbles in here, which means that it's actually working. Soon, we start to collect some sal ammoniac in the bottom little tank here. And as much as I want to drink the purple danger water, we still have a lot of work to do before we can use this stuff. The next step in this project is getting a pyromantic blazer, which you could probably tell from the name is basically like a Bunsen burner. Then we craft up a liquefaction cauldron so Jesse and I can start to cook up all of our sulfur, of course, which is one of the parts of the theurgy mod, which helps us make new elements. By filling the cauldron with sal ammonia and some other materials, we can get some sulfur. And as the Great Quest Book commands, we're going to be using dried earth as said material. Luckily, this stuff is like, literally everywhere. Unluckily, so are the mobs, and this skelly gets us right back into the danger zone. Now, we can't even go outside, because it's raining, and I even think that skelly might have been in the water, so it's not burning up. The Minecraft gods giveth and taketh away, but mostly taketh away, let's be real. And while this does bring our survival adventure to a bit of a halt here, it doesn't hard lock us. We still have one good option here. We can go fishing in our brand new infinite water source. Is this pathetic? Yes. Are you still watching me do it anyway? Yeah. See? This is more of a you thing at this point. Honestly though, let's be real, this is definitely still a me problem, because I could just eat this rotten flesh, but this whole time, I've just been too stubborn to do it. Even after lowering my standards and finally eating the flesh, guys, get your heads out of the gutter, we still try to do some fishing. But I do get a little bit greedy here. I sneak outside, and I try to get a little bit of dried earth. Luckily, it seems like the skelly has left, kind of like everyone else in my life, so I do manage to pull this off safely. Now, Farmer's Delight can help us out here too. We just need to get some flint from all this gravel. Then we can craft up this caveman-style flint knife. Actually kind of reminds me of my kitchenware in my dorm. Anyway, we can cut up the fish to double the hunger that we can get out of it. And we also get a little bit of bone meal to boot. Then we can cook it, and we can save our charcoal by using this campfire. And boom, with this little method, we now have infinite food. It just takes us a lot of time to be sitting here and fishing. Luckily, however, my time is completely worthless. We also do manage to fish up some crabs and anchovies, which is good because it lets us know that this mod pack has Croptopia, which is pretty nice. Now, with a bit more food, I'm feeling maybe a little too brave here, and I head out to try to grab enough dried earth to maybe move us forward on the main quest. Again, we put the dried earth in here, and we just need to fire up this brazier down below it. Soon, we get our first alchemical sulfur of dirt. So cool! We did it! We finally have dirt, right? Oh, come on, you little goobers. You already know that there's going to be so much more work to be done here. And the next component we need is mercury. Wow. Playing with the sal ammoniac and now I'm using raw mercury? Man, this really can't be good for my brain health. Oh, and speaking of my health, there's another blood moon. And of course, with my luck, my flimsy little door here decides to break right now at this moment. I had a pretty decent little jump scare right here. So once I recompose myself, I get a moment here and I start to focus on making another brazier and getting another machine. This time, the mercury distiller. Again, we're gonna have to burn up some of our very precious charcoal here down in the brazier to get this to work. But then once we add some cobblestone in here, sure enough, we start to get our mercury. Just enough of it to add into all of our children's vaccines. But we aren't done just yet. Now we have to add one more machine to help us produce one more alchemical material. Another brazier goes down, and this last machine is called the catalytic oven. It takes a ton of copper to make, but luckily we already grabbed a ton of it, so we should have enough. And this oven can even run on cobblestone, although I will tell you, there's definitely some better materials that we could be using instead. For now, this'll do, pig. And we get our first little bit of salt, strata salt. Finally, we still have to make one other machine setup, and this one is the most complex yet. We will need yet another brazier, and on top of this one, we're going to be placing our incubator. It's looking good, but we still need to add 3 more components, which means we're probably going to have to carve out just a little bit more space in this cave to add all these add-ons, called vessels. 1 for each of these new resources that we've just created. So 1 for the salt, then we have 1 for the sulfur back here, and 1 for the mercury. Why does it sound like all these materials are what we would use to make a pipe bomb? Ah well, we are probably already on a few federal government watch lists, so 1 more can't hurt. We add all these vessels, and I can see the connection right here, and that easily lets us know that the salts will be going into the incubator. Perfect. This should be working. I add the other vessels all around the back and the right side, and I start to add the mercury and the sulfurs respectfully. I also do decide to put some logs underneath the vessels to hold them up. No reason why, I just think it kind of looks silly to have them like floating up in the air like this. Now, we put our last bit of charcoal underneath the incubator, and soon, the miracle of life begins. No, I'm not making a baby. I told you guys, I'm saving myself. Instead, we make something even better, a block of dirt. All jokes aside though, this is a massive step forward for us, and it's the true first chapter in our adventure of bringing life back to this world. With this dirt, farming is now an option. We just need to figure out where the farm will go. I'll admit, I was tempted to abandon the whole bunker idea and to put this outside. But no, we live by our bunker. And if we need to, we die by the bunker. So now we start to dig out a brand new little area here to get our crops going. Our first dirt, and now our first water is down. And this little patch here, though small, is the very first cradle of life on this world. So we need to protect it. And of course, we have to expand it. We get our first little plot ready and start to get our first wheat seeds in the ground. Man, I've never fought so hard just to get wheat in the ground before. I have to admit, this time it does feel pretty good. But, at the same time, let's just be real. This is still pretty pathetic, so we're gonna have to go back to fishing for right now, which we do for an entire night. Like I said though, cutting up these fish is pretty good though. 1, because it is technically violence and helps satiate my bloodlust, but 2, because we do get a little more bone meal, which we could definitely really use right now. By day 6, we have a good bit of it, and we can now use this to get exactly 2 wheat. Yeah, not as good as I was thinking, but that's okay, because I managed to get some leather boots, so it was all worth it in the end, guys. Now that I do have a few little pieces of fish here, I can head out and try to farm up some more resources. This time, we're cutting up all the dead grass, because there still might be some seeds in here. Not just wheat seeds. We also find something called snowbell seeds. Soon, we find even more seeds out here, like the belladonna. We get some wolfsbane, and even some mandrake, all of which sound kind of strange. I mean, first off, I'll be totally honest with you guys, I was definitely hoping for something more like potatoes or carrots, Or maybe even Chef Boyardee. Yum. But also, more importantly, all of these seeds sound like flowers. I'm not even sure we're going to be able to make any food out of this stuff. And speaking of food, I stay out collecting all of these new seeds until we run out of food. And the sun is getting a little bit low too. Still, I try to suck every last bit of juice out of this world while I can. Now, the sun does go down while I'm still outside, but there is some good news. It's not a blood moon. But also, there is some bad news. I suck at combat, obviously. This little husk right here might even be able to just straight up 1v1 me. I swear I do hate these little things. With no armor and no food, I have no choice but to head home. If I can find my way home. Luckily, this map up here in the corner is helping me show my way home. Without it, I would have 100% got lost in this desert. I follow the river all the way back to my base, and I keep as far away from the mobs as I can. And of course, the door breaks. Again. Just can't have nice things. Well, maybe a few nice things. We finally get enough of our seeds to make this farm a slightly less pathetic. We start to plant all of our new goodies that we found. Still, I'm pretty sure that all of these seeds we collected aren't going to be edible, so we're going to have to spend another night catfishing harder than my grinder profile. We now do place some cooked cod slices in the mercury distiller because the quest book told me to, and I obey. And it does definitely give us some more mercury, which is good because we need that. But I mean, also I need food too. I am a little fatty. So instead, we try putting some logs in here. And it does give us a pretty good amount of mercury, and we don't have to use up any of our food. Trust me, I've tried to eat these dead logs, and you can't. Speaking of food, let's go check on our new quote-unquote farm. Now the good news is the crops are growing, but the bad news is I think I was right. It looks like most of these are just flowers. Which is definitely nice. As a man, no one ever really gives me flowers. But also, no one ever really gives me bread, and I do kind of want some of that too. Speaking of, maybe we can use some of these mods in this mod pack to try to get a little bit more bread out of our wheat. I see this mod pack has create, but that's still pretty far away. But hey, all we have to do here is combine some wheat with some water, and we can get some dough. And we can do this by the stack, which is pretty nice too. Now, we can't cook the dough on the campfire here, which is fine. I'm not frustrated at all, no. But we can cook it here just by using some sticks. Finally, with some bread in hand, Fat Boy Cappy is happy once again. With our belly full of bread, we can now look into getting our quest book filled out once again. With the creation of dirt, we finished the prologue of this mod pack. And yes, this is in fact a pretty big deal. Right away, we're in the next chapter, and I see just how many quests start to branch off, and there is just a ton of stuff for us to do. Normally, new things scare me, but this is kind of cool. And we aren't even really doing all of the side quests either. To be honest with you, I'm much more focused on just trying to get the life back into this world, so I'm probably not going to be doing all the side quests either. Not in this series anyway. And one of the big things that we need to get started on in all of these new quests is getting some new seeds. Water artichoke. Sounds like it would go great in some dip, but we're going to have to get our hands on some of the seeds first. So, it's another trip out into the horrible, disgusting wilds where we could... Oh, hey, look at that. We found some right away. That was easy for once. And it looks like we get a little bit more luck here too, because as the sun sets, it doesn't turn into a blood moon, but instead, a blue moon. Wow, we're actually getting a break here? Something nice is happening for us? That really does only happen once in a blue moon. And yet somehow we are still lucky enough to have a skelly camping in our front door. Yeah, thanks Minecraft, super lucky. At least the skelly's noble sacrifice does give us a little bit more bone meal. Now, we can go and plant some of our artichoke, only to find out that it's not really working. And so, I engage my massive 1000 IQ wrinkly brain, and I see that the water artichoke has the word water in it. Eureka! Now I place the artichoke on top of, wait for it, the water. Yep, that's right. That's why the captain gets the big bucks, fellas. while all those crops continue growing, we're going to continue collecting all the resources we need to fill up our alchemical machines and get even more dirt. More dirt, more farm, more happy. And I must admit, all these dumb, useless flowers are starting to grow on me. Yes, I'm starting to like them. And no, that was not a growing on me pun. Do not put that in the comments or I'll hate you. Forever. And, speaking of growing on me, and now embarrassing puns too, we make some crop sticks and start to clear out even more space for said farm. So, we till up the new dirt and we set out the crop sticks. Ooh. Oh. Why do they look like that? These look less like sticks made out of wood and more like steel rods. I don't even know if I have enough jet fuel to melt these. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with these cheap looking sticks, because we are gonna need them for crossbreeding some potatoes. Yes, that's right. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, but first you have to breed them. Ah yes, are you as excited as I am? Well, let's get started by putting down these 2 parent crops on the sticks to get this whole thing going. I do decide I want to make a little bit more room over on this side to set out a whole nother plot to do even more crossbreeding, and we set up the sticks here as well. Now, we're going to set the seeds up directly on the sticks. Oh, God. Oh my, what is going on? Why does it look like this? Okay, I know there's no way this is right. And after quickly downloading and changing my shaders, turns out, yes, that was disgusting, godless, and very, very wrong. With these new shaders, we, 1, don't have to stab our eyes out, but 2, we can start to get all the crossbreeding farms set up properly this time. To do this, we're first going to be setting out our wheat in these rows, in a sort of a checker pattern here. Then, we're going to start to crossbreed up with some wolfsbane, and we set out all these in adjacent rows in the same checkered pattern. In the middle of these, we're going to be adding cross sticks, and this is where all the new hybrid crops should start to grow once the parents have all fully grown. We're also going to do this over in this other patch, instead using wheat and snowbell. In the meantime, we head out into the pouring rain to get even more logs, because we're going to need them for, well, just about everything. Burning logs and charcoal is kind of the only power source we have in this entire bunker. Also, we use some flimsy planks to make a composter, which you definitely need. You get a lot of extra seeds from crossbreeding. This is because, frustratingly, crossbreeding actually fails more than it succeeds, and you're going to have to remove all the failed attempts. But don't worry though, this doesn't make me mad. No. Either way, to increase the chance of getting the hybrid that we want, we increase the farm size. That makes sense, right? Now, all the parents are fully grown, so the crossbars should start to hopefully get some new crossbreeds. I think. Kinda. I'm really just winging this here. But, sure enough, I go right over here to check on the potato crossbreed farm, and I walk right past it. Captain, turn around. Cap, you literally just walked right past it. Okay, there we go. And yes, if you can't tell from my reaction there in game, we finally got something good happening to us in this horrible, horrible world. Yeah, I was pretty psyched about it. This first successful crossbreeding was almost certainly going to be our brand new food source for the rest of this playthrough. What? Don't make fun of me. Just because I dance around like a total nerd when I'm happy? There's nothing wrong with that. Speaking of being happy, the carrot seeds pop up literally right in front of me once again. And just like that, I am a god of earth and soil. Bow down, you peasants, to my tatery carrot goodness. I might be letting this first success go to my head a little bit here. Speaking of obtaining too much power, can we actually make copper plants? Looks like all we need to crossbreed these is carrots and wheat. And some other strange conditions here, but nothing that I don't think we can pull off. So, we dig out this whole new area here in the bunker to set up this weird new farm. One weird thing about it is that we're going to have to make the crossbars over gravel. That's interesting. On top of that, the gravel has to be underwater, which is very weird. I definitely would never have figured this out on my own, but luckily the quest book has told us what to do here, so I think this should be right. But after spending a little bit of time messing around here and trying to figure out exactly what's supposed to be going on here, I have to say, this does kind of look like it might actually work. This setup right here should be exactly what we need to make our copper plants. I think. At least I hope this is right, because now we're expanding it to a total of 8 blocks. Hopefully this crossbreeding process won't take forever. The parent seeds are all in place, and the crossbars have been completely waterlogged. Don't know how this doesn't spill over into like the parent crops as well, but I mean, not gonna ask any questions. Now, we wait. But while we wait, we might as well keep on working on something else. I see that we can actually crossbreed flax seeds. And yes, while growing and eating flax seeds will definitely help me attract a California white girl, trust me, I need all the help I can get, I actually have something else in mind. But first, we're going to have to get the parent crops, wheat and belladonna, growing first. Over in the plots where we were growing carrots, we're going to tear out some of these and hopefully rearrange everything, adding in the belladonna flowers. This should work just as well. Maybe. Or maybe this needs gravel and water, or maybe it even needs to be grown in darkness. I have no idea what I'm doing here, but hey, it's worth a try. The first crops here in the copper farm are definitely not looking right at all. So, once again, while we're waiting, we're just gonna have to kill more time. Oh, and speaking of killing, ew. Is that blood? Ooh, yeah. So just like my other war crimes, I'm gonna pretend like I didn't just see that and continue to work on planting some mandrakes. As I continue to deny the truth and distract myself, I make a fluid vessel out of some Camenite bricks. We set this down over in this little corner right here, where we add another sal ammoniac accumulator. So now we add that purple sal ammoniac, and no surprise, we're going to add some of the mandrake roots that we've just grown. So why does mandrake and this acidic ammonia turn into blood? I don't know. I don't want to know. It looks like it's a great time to head over to my farms and not think about it too much at all. In fact, I was so distracted about what my defense was going to be when I was eventually showing up in court for my war crimes that I didn't even realize that we had finally gotten a fully grown flax plant right here. The true perk of having flax is that now we can make string out of it. After all, we're going to need all the wool we can get to mop up all the blood from all these mandrakes we're growing now. With this bucket full of blood, we can craft up another brazier and another liquefaction cauldron. We're going to combine the blood with some copper. You know, assuming we can actually manage to grow some copper. My current theory is that all of these crop plants had heard that I was dealing with some small blood magic here, and they refused to grow. Can't say I blame them. We reset the whole middle row here, and we get our magnifying glass, which should help us identify the seeds so that we don't have to do so much guesswork here. Although, I don't need a magnifying glass to see those 4 bulbs. Those are clearly not a vanilla crop. It's pretty obvious that we've done it again, boys. We're on a roll here, man, even though this takes a ton of care and a little too much time. We're finally getting some crops that should help us farm copper right out of the ground. These things, they suck down bone meal like I suck down Doritos, but I can't even complain. I do pick up some of the seeds so that I can analyze them, and I see that, sure enough, looks like we're doing everything right here. I do decide to also grow some of these seeds over here on these sticks to see if they'll work here as well. Still, these are going to take some time to grow. We have even more time to kill here, so we take a short break and we take some of our enchanted flowers that we've been growing to make some anointing oil. And yes, this means we're almost certainly going to be dealing with witchcraft in the near future. I don't care if it's the spooky season or if my birthday's in October. I hate this magic stuff. It intimidates me more than a thick goth girlfriend. I just can't take it. Of course, to make the witch cauldron, we're also going to need some iron. So we're still waiting on these crops to grow either way. Can't complain too much though, because soon we get our first little bit of copper growing. All jokes aside, this might be the highlight of the mod pack right here, for me at least. The idea of having a literal farm grow ores is kind of amazing. Now, copper, admittedly, might be the most booty cheeks ore out there, but I don't care. This right here, this is cool. And what's really actually pretty cool is that we might be able to use this copper for something even more useful. Because once again, once we add it to the blood over here, sure enough, it starts to make some iron sulfur. Yep, that's right, guys. Now don't get ahead of me here. Seriously, don't get ahead of me. We have a ton of more work to do before we can actually make iron in this incubator. You're getting your hopes set up way too high if you think this is going to be easy, though. See, making iron needs a stronger type of salt, which we can only get by putting charcoal in the catalytic oven. Yeah, that means that charcoal is now even more important than before. This actually might not be as awesome and ideal as I was thinking it would be. But still, I know no matter what, we are going to need some iron, so I push on. I replace the strata salt with our new mineral salt and the dirt sulfur with our new iron sulfur. Throw some coal down in the burner once again, and turns out it's all worth it in the end. Because now we've just cooked up our first piece of iron on this entire planet. Well, at least I think it's worth it. I mean, it is pretty expensive after all. It does take a lot of work to make the blood, a lot of time to grow the copper, and a lot of resources, like charcoal, to make the salts. But I think I might have found something that could help out with this whole process, at least with the copper growing part. The watering can. It can be made out of 4 iron, so it's the very first thing that I invest my first little bit of iron into. This will let us water crops and accelerate their growth if I stand right over them. I'm not exactly sure how it works on these crops that are literally a block below water, but again, I'm not going to ask any questions. The point is, I can now sit here and start to essentially instantaneously grow copper. This is huge. And now we're already starting to collect a decent little bit of iron here. I'm so in love with this thing. I think you guys probably already saw this coming, but I'm going to be making a huge copper farm. The cloning process is much faster than the crossbreeding process, just ask Emperor Palpatine, and soon we have a pretty decent sized farm right here. This should let us collect a decent chunk of copper once a day, or just by sitting here with a watering can too. Although I do have to admit, I kind of just love sitting here with my watering can, watching the copper stalks grow. Oh god, they grow on stalks. That's another pun, isn't it? Well, either way, I love this farm so much, I continue to expand it even farther. I'm kind of addicted at this point. Seriously, I'm more addicted to this stuff than I am to making Nuclearcraft Apocalypse bunker videos. And that's pretty bad. Speaking of bad decisions, even though I officially unlocked iron, I head outside without making any armor. Now, in my defense, since, I need a defense, I don't have any armor to defend me, I need to actually get more iron before I can make the armor, which is why I'm out here in the first place. But hey, at least we do have some baked potatoes, which we can shove into all these gruesome arrow wounds, so that's nice. Okay, but what's really nice is now we have enough copper from farming and looting to get a real decent amount of iron cooking up here. Speaking of taters, we do take some time to set up another plot so that we can grow them. Mostly because that last fight where I ran out of food traumatized me so much. With all of our new iron, we can make our cauldron. Now, I decide I'm going to set it down right over here on the magical side of the bunker. I slap it down, then I throw on a little bit of our anointing juice. Ah yes, a witch's cauldron. Great, because I just love witchcraft so much. That was what we in the business call a sarcasm there, kids. And yet, all the complaining aside, there are some upsides. Cooking with 3 buckets of water, 1 belladonna, 1 artichoke, and 1 piece of bone meal does get us something, well, honestly, just awesome. As the cauldron starts to bubble up with all these pretty sparkles and beautiful effects, nope, don't trust it. You can't trick me with your demon magic. Not twice. But what I definitely do like is these 3 mutinies that come out in the end. To use this new magical item, we do have to head outside into the night with no armor. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to go really well. See, what we have to do here is combine the mutagen with the stick. But unfortunately not like this, I guess. So we rush back home, and of course break our door, giving me another small heart attack. Man, this crappy little door really does remind me of my college dorm. Then we try to add the stick into the witch's cauldron. I mean, come on. I genuinely thought this was going to work. This seems like a good idea, right? Well, it turns out, all along, what you have to do is you have to take the stick and apply the mutagen to it while it's on the ground. Yeah, that's right. Doing this makes us a sapling. Now, we just get a random sapling. We don't have to choose which one we do, and we get Rowan saplings. Isn't exactly what I bargained for, but then again, it is witchcraft. You never do get what you bargained for with this blood magic. Luckily, the next little piece of mutagen gets us exactly the sapling we wanted. You already know, a spruce sapling. And we add a cherry sapling too. Pretty awesome. Wait, did I say awesome? No, I'm definitely not starting to like witchcraft. No. Never. In fact, I'm going to start heading down into the mines to do manly, not magic things. Yeah, digging in a hole. That's really manly, right? But also, I am down here trying to clear out some room so that we have some space to start growing trees in this part of our bunker. Every bunker builder in Minecraft has to make up their minds between two bunker designs. Do you like the very small, tight, and efficient bunkers filled with useful, well thought out floor plans? Or go for a massive, wide open bunker that takes a lot of time to build, but it's pretty impressive when it's done? Well, you guys already know me. I'm way too indecisive to choose, so I'm going for both. This bottom bunker is going to be the beginning of a massive tree-growing bunker. And I guess the gods decide to punish me for my greed, because, oh my god, look at that minimap. Holy mobs, Batman, that is a lot of bad guys. Now, the good news is here, because we built in the side of a mountain with all this water out here, we don't actually have that many mobs right out in front of us. The real nightmare is actually across the river over there. So, because I'm feeling pretty safe here, I decided to try my luck and stay out a little bit. But like most of my life choices, that was very wrong. With no armor, I still have to quickly retreat back into my bunker. I seal myself in and finally make myself some real armor. Wow, almost like I grew a brain here or something. But now, I'm strong and ready to face the horrors that await, and the bloodmoon's already over. Okay, well, so much for all that. Still, there are a ton of mobs that I need to clear out, so I guess it's not completely wasted. We do get ourselves a dark oak sapling. It's great. It's one of my top favorite woods for sure, but I'm pretty sure we need 4 saplings to grow this, so it's not exactly what we need right now. I do also manage to slap around this husk and grab his steel mechanism boots. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be getting to play with mechanisms soon, boys. But don't let me tease you too much here. I can promise you this, that is much, much further down the line. Let's try to figure out how to get the lower bunker in shape first and start growing some trees. Sadly, this is not quite in shape yet, because these saplings eat up all my bone meal. And sad emoji. I will admit, at this point right here, can't deny that it would be a lot easier to put these saplings outside. But no, I said I wanted a bunker base. I'm too committed and too dumb to give up now, so we're going to craft up even more bone meal. Then we keep digging out even more room for this bougie little princess of a sapling. Good news is, it actually works. And finally, we grow our first tree. The bad news is, this entire time I find out we could have been using the water can, but whatever, I'm happy, I guess, right? Right, guys? Either way, we do get our first wood that isn't dead logs on this planet, and we can quickly use the watering can to power grow even more trees. This is a huge turn for us, because now we have a ton more options at our fingertips, starting with spruce doors, of course. Yes, that's right, welcome to the Captain's TV. The first thing I do with all this new wood is decorate. And I'm not even done yet either. I get a spruce gateway going with the door out in front of our bunker. Is it a fallout bunker or a hobbit hole? You decide. More importantly, we can now move up the tech tree. Tree, tech tree. Nope, not another pun, not another pun. First, I definitely do get distracted by these AoE tools. They cost a little bit more iron, but I definitely think it's worth it. This hammer can mine out 9 blocks at once. We can now clear out a 3x3 tunnel at the same speed that we could mine out a single block. This is yet again another big improvement for us cave dwellers here, because now it means we can upgrade this bottom bunker much faster, and it'll be truly massive in no time. Which means with all this digging and growing, we can get even more digging and growing. See, we can turn the logs into charcoal. We can then use the charcoal to make more iron. With more iron tools, we can dig out more space and grow more trees. It's simple economics here, people. It's a true growth market strategy here. The bubble will never burst. Now, does this mean we waste an entire day trying to get our iron production going? Yes. Sure, but let's be honest. Most men spend their entire lives just trying to get their iron production right. I think. That was supposed to be a metaphor. I'm not really sure. I'm not even really sure what I'm saying right now. I think it's all the mercury going to my head. What I do know is every time I see a grown spruce tree, I get pretty happy. And I'm also pretty happy to see that this mod pack has Paxels. It's a multi-tool that combines an axe, pick, and a shovel into one tool. This, combined with all these awesome AoE tools, are amazing news for a lazy man such as myself. Still, we are going to have to wait a bit and let the trees grow. So let's head out and try to grab some new saplings. Of course, though, as soon as I start to get some loot in my base, the pillagers start coming for my booty. Classic story. This time, however, I decide to make a shield, which does make this fight like 1,000 times easier, and soon I'm pretty much torn with these little goobers. So my reward for my bravery is... No, I definitely don't want that sapling. Not that one. No, that might be the worst one yet. And we get nothing. Cool. Cool. So we make our, 4th witchcraft brew to try to get even more saplings again. See, this is why I don't trust this magic stuff. And I think it might have heard me say that, because once again, it does betray us. Yeah, this is fun. We're all having so much fun, right, guys? So it's back to the witchy well one more time. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If we don't get the sapling we want this time, I'm throwing my computer out the window. We make a little bit more room down here to make extra certain we can grow a tree. And birch. Really? Really, God? You're gonna do me like that? You know what? I'm taking this hawthorn tree. I don't care anymore. I don't know what this thing does, but anything's better than birch. But hey, with all that complaining aside, I have to admit, the tree bunker itself is looking pretty awesome. Finally, on day 25, a quarter of the way through our torture here, we start to use our iron to make a witch's oven, since, I haven't had enough of this witchcraft in my life. We set this down, and I look in here to find out I have no idea what I'm doing. I had no idea what was coming up next here. Turns out, the next part of the witchcraft enchanted mod might actually be the worst one so far. And it all starts by cooking up some magical fumes, which requires clay jars. We need to do this because we have to make brilliant fibers. Remember those, because I never will forget them. In order to get them, we need fumes of purity and magic. To get the magical fumes, we need to cook up some rowan saplings. But that's good news. I think I might actually have some of those saplings. We just need to start growing them up. And soon we head down into the bottom bunker to get a nice little surprise. The cherry tree has bloomed and it's looking pretty great, I have to admit. Turns out, while I don't have the sapling I need, I get the sapling that I want. I think. Right? Is that how the saying goes? I don't really listen to the Beatles anyway. I'm still pretty happy to have a second type of wood in our build. And quite a sexy wood at that. We get our saplings, and this is actually working out pretty well. And just when I was about to curse this devil magic, it comes around, and I actually start to like it. But just a little. I decide to add more cherry blossoms, and now we should have a ton of great wood. Maybe. Let's not jinx this too much. Let's move on. Finally, we can actually get somewhere with all this magic. We add the hawthorn saplings to the witch oven, and, I hope you're hungry, for nothing. Yeah, that's right. Cooking up these saplings don't even guarantee that we get these dirty little fumes anyway. I mean, I really hate this. I hate this so much, you guys. So now we have to bone meal up even more hawthorn saplings. As we get ready to, I'm sure, be disappointed again. Now we also craft up some more mutagen so we can get our first oak sapling. Okay, I actually do like this. Oak is a pretty good wood. It's right up there with spruce and dark oak. Look, guys, my life is a nightmare here. This magic has been making everything tough on me. Please let me just enjoy this tiny little wind here. Let me at least pretend an oak tree is something good. Well, actually, something good does happen. We use our last little piece of mutagen here, and finally, we get another rowan sapling. I do take a little break here, make myself a pretty pink pony chest, and we put all of our magical trees in here, which fully does unlock my inner girl dad. Then we cook up our saplings again, which means we are praying that this works again. And luckily, turns out God really does pity us, because we get our first little bit of odor here. Great. I mean, we still have to make another one, but hey, at least now I know I'm doing the right thing here. I think. We grab up some more bone meal, because I want to rush these trees as fast as I can, and this is a sure thing. So finally, this cursed magical tree grows, and actually, I gotta admit it, it's pretty cool looking. I love the olive green leaves and the wood that are offset with these bright berries. Yes, this one does actually look pretty good. Now, that doesn't mean I like the enchanted mod. Do not twist my words here. You can't get me to admit that. What I really do not like is how I have to burn 5 of these saplings and I still get no fumes. Reminding me, for like the 10th time today, why I still hate magic. If it isn't already super obvious by how much I've been complaining and losing my mind here, this mod pack is way more difficult inside of a bunker like this. After all, we're trying to grow a forest here. It'd be much easier up top. But number 1, this is much safer to do with all these bloodmoons going on. And number 2, I love myself a bunker, and I won't have it any other way. And of course, number 3 is that I don't really have a number 3. But the point is, we're building underground no matter what. Besides, at this point, finally, I don't think it really matters either way, because the tree bunker down here is so beautiful, and the entire ground is pretty much covered in dirt too. We keep growing more and more of these admittedly pretty cool trees. And finally, after I think almost 10 days of trying to make these brilliant fibers, we finally get our odor of magic. So, once again, we get our cauldron filled with water. Then, in this order, yes, the order you put them in definitely matters. You put odor of purity, the blue one with the purple little bubble on it, then a string, a wolfsbane flower, and finally you put the little white star jar, the odor of magic, at the very end. Finally, it actually works. Sure enough, we finally get those 2 brilliant fibers. Now, what are we going to use them for? Well, maybe I'll show you, or maybe I'll get distracted again and just keep on planting more and more trees. I think we all know which one happened. Okay, but honestly though, growing up a big tree right here is actually part of using the brilliant fibers. Now, I don't really know how this is going to work, so I'm still trying to make sure I'm set up correctly here. I decide to make some more room and make sure that this bunker is even bigger. Now that I have enough space here, I can set this tree way off to the side over here. Finally, I think I'm actually going to get to show you what these brilliant fibers do. We can add them to some of the leaves and they'll make golden leaves. But here's the thing. It only makes 1 leaf per fiber, and we're going to need hundreds of these leaves in the future. Yeah, seriously. If you think I'm going to keep on growing those saplings and keep on using that witch's oven, bro, you're dumber than me. Honestly, that's like a whole new low right there. Luckily, I think we have a better plan here, because when I cut some of the leaves around the golden leaves, it starts to glow even more goldenly. I don't really know how to explain it, but the point is, when we cut these leaves, the golden leaves soon start to spread to other leaves. Now, I will admit, I accidentally cut these golden leaves off the tree. This is not a good thing. It's definitely not something I should have done, but at least I have another brilliant fiber. And we can confirm that the golden leaves spread from one leaf to another. And so, with that in mind, I'm now going to set up this lower bunker to help me get even more brilliant fiber. First, because it is day 30, I'm kind of afraid that we might get another super blood moon. And so, because I am very, very scared, to keep myself a little bit safer, I put this pit right here in front of my bunker. Then I add some cherry pink trapdoors over the pit, very intimidating. And within just one day, with all of our magical trees growing, we managed to get another 2 brilliant fiber cooked up, and we should be making a ton of golden leaf growing in no time at all. Which means that now it's much less painful of a process to get the fibers and to get more golden leaves growing much quicker. So, just like a kid throwing toilet paper all over a house, we run all around this tree, jumping up and trying to throw the brilliant fibers into the leaves every single place we can. Speaking of jumping up in the air, I'm getting pretty tired of jumping up my staircase every time I want to go to my top bunker, so I make a real staircase. Now I can move much more quickly up and down. Also, this goes out to all the people who hate to watch me make a mine shaft and not put proper stairs in it. You guys can all chill in the comments now. Nah, who am I kidding? I know you guys are going to roast me anyway. And I love it. Speaking of love it, I'm loving these new golden leaves. It's only been like a day or two. This tree has a ton of leaves growing all over it already. Spreading faster than my legs, this tree's already got enough golden leaves to help us with our next little bit of magic. Here's the thing though, this is my little secret. I think I actually kind of like this type of magic. This is forest magic. After all, I do love me some forest vibes. I'm a big fan of all the national parks and a Boy Scout from day one. The idea of using forest magic seems kind of cool. And that is the next type of magic that we'll be working on now. We combine 4 logs with golden leaf, even though I'm pretty sure we're going to need 8 of these. Don't know why the quest book said we only need 4. But hey, it doesn't really matter. After all, we have enough leaves in these trees, so we should easily be able to pull off 4 or 8 or however many we need. Now, I just need the space to set the ritual up. Speaking of loving the forest, my bunker has now turned into a true spruce forest. Which, normally, I'd be in love with this. But we are going to have to clear out some of it so that we can make some room for said ritual. Cutting down all these trees, unfortunately, will be the first sacrifice we have to make. Fortunately, I don't have to sacrifice my sanity. Yet. Because we already have this blueprint hologram thingy that should make it way easier for me to figure out how to set this ritual up. This is one of those mods where you have to make sure you set everything down in the right place. But it's definitely not as complex as a nuclear reactor. Not this time. The posts are down, and the golden leaf is all laid out. Now, we just have to add these specific ingredients on top of the post to make the ritual work. Once again, you have to get the right items in the right places. Kind of like how you have to get the right items set up in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do one thing wrong, and it will explode. Our recipe is seeds and hay, which you get from the farm. That one's pretty easy. Then we have to get 2 more fumes, which I was a little bit worried about, but it's pretty easy since we only have to cook up some spruce saplings. This one gets us a fume called Hint of Rebirth. Then the second fume is made from cooking up more birch, which, watching all these birch saplings burn, it's actually kind of cathartic. I like it. Birch trees make Breath of the Goddess? Oh, come on now. Don't give birch trees that much credit. Can't even be too mad about it though, because now we set all of our ingredients out here in the right spots. Hay up on the top, with the Rebirth over here on the left, and the Goddess over here on the right. Then you can just put any type of seed you want down here at the bottom. And now, I don't know. Do we just like sit here and wait? Or like what happens next? According to our guide here, it says that we're going to use some fertilizer. So I'm going to try some bone meal on this birch sapling to see if this is right. Then, boom. Here we go. The magical golden glitter starts to spread. It was an awe-inspiring sight to see the spirits of the forest come to life. Or at least that's how I was feeling in-game, you know? If I see this in the real world out in the forest, I'm pooping my pants and running the other way so hard. Maybe both at once, in fact. Still, our deal with the foresty devil works out, because now we have our pasture seed. once we throw this down on a big chunk of dirt, it turns into grass. Just like that, we have grass returning to this barren, dead world. We can even bone meal the grass too, and get some flowers to add to the flora. Which, I soon find out, is actually exactly what we have to do to get to our next chapter, which is called Touching Grass. Okay, that one did make me laugh a little bit. I do have to tip the cap to the proper puns right there. Anyway, like I said, before I was so rudely interrupted by my own brain, I start out our next chapter, and this is a massive chapter, which starts by growing some flowers in our newly acquired grass. And, not to skip ahead or any spoilers here, but this is a chapter that ends with bringing new sentient life into our world. Finally, our true end goal is in sight. Albeit, way down the line there, but in sight. This chapter will start by using all of the items we've collected from the other chapters in this now naturally growing world and combining them for this next ritual of the forest. Now, it's a good thing we have a ton of golden leaf to help us set up the next ritual once again. And like I said, we are going to need a ton of this stuff. See? I don't lie to you guys. Unless I want to. So, much like a vegan at Trader Joe's, we take all of these organic goodies and pray to the spirits of the forest to bless us with, I don't know, a lot of followers on Twitter. What do vegans like? Sadly, we do not acquire any more internet cred, but instead, we craft up the natural altar. Good news, boys. This is the central block to our next mod. Sadly, this is not the most expensive piece. See, the problem is, we have to make 8 golden stone bricks, which, yeah, you guessed it, need 8 pieces of brilliant fiber. Oh no. Yeah, that crappy stuff again. Once again, witchcraft keeps pulling me back. So, of course, the gods punish me for my witchy ways by sending another pillager attack my way. Yeah, I kinda deserve it. Like a great warrior, I attack with the sword and shield while wading neck deep in water. Truly, I have been studying the art of war. Sadly though, Sun Tzu was unaware of crossbows with piercing on them, because this last captain here kinda gives me a little bit of trouble. Luckily, my insane PvE skills simply cannot be matched, and my foes fall before me. My mighty battle prowess attracts another army of pillagers. Like, wow, seriously, I don't even know if I've ever seen so many pillagers in one attack. Plus, this one was only like 100 blocks from that first attack. These boys are really trying to get at my booty. Luckily, the world has been thirsting after my booty for my entire life, so this is no sweat. I had no problem with this fight whatsoever. The fact that I came running back into my bunker and shut all the doors and set these traps out, that doesn't mean I'm scared. No. Luckily, I did manage to get enough clay, so it doesn't really matter either way. Now, I just have to get 4 more Odor of Purity, which is actually pretty easy. Now, I just have to get those Odor of Magics, which is a little less easy. I'm not exactly sure if the rowan trees grow slower or if they give less saplings, but either way, I've been trying to get enough saplings to get the Odor of Magic for a while here. It's a good thing I'm a Minecraft YouTuber and I have nothing better going on in my life, so I can wait it all out. Seriously though, I just burnt through 5 saplings for nothing. I actually take a second here and I go into the JEI to make sure I'm actually doing everything right here. That's how long it's taking. I was worried I was messing this up somehow. Sure enough, I am doing everything right, and still failing somehow. Wow, just like in real life. Since I am going to have to wait for the rowan trees to grow either way, I decide to take some time to make a stone cutter. Now, I'm going to take some time to make all of the other blocks that we're going to need to make our natural altar. In fact, we have so much time that we take a quick break here to do another ritual of the forest to get, well, mostly to get distracted from how much I hate my life, trying to get all these brilliant fibers. Sorry, didn't mean to drop the mask there. What I meant to say is, we're getting this trinket which lets us see aura. As a broke boy such as myself, I could never hope to farm a little bit of aura, but maybe we can use aura in the natural world around us. Finally, we come back to our witch oven to see we did it. We now have all the materials we need to make 8 brilliant fibers and make 8 golden blocks. Finally, now that we've made these very time-consuming blocks, we have everything we need to set out the natural altar. Everything, but some space for it. I actually think this might be the biggest altar we've made so far, so you guys already know we're going to start clearing out a big chunk of this bunker wall once again. Luckily, we also get another blueprint layout to help us here, and I'll take all the help I can get. Think we all know I'm not too proud. Then, we can start to set out all the blocks all in the right order. This is the most expensive altar to build, obviously, and in case you missed the last 10 minutes of me complaining. The good news is, once it's actually all set down, it's much easier to do each ritual instead of like the ritual of the forest. Soon, all the stones are in place, and the aura farming can begin. The glittering orbs raising from these golden blocks mean that it's working. That is aura, by the way, not my BO. Although I know it does kind of have a similar look there. Right away, we can already use just one piece of iron to get some infused iron. Like I said, it's a pretty quick and easy ritual here. We can also use the altar for some other decent things, including getting us a little bit closer to creating life. Starting with digging all the way down to deep slate and collecting about 20 pieces of it. Now on day 40, we head back up and walk through our pretty cool looking bunker, yeah, I'll say it, and we set the deep slate on top of the natural altar. Just like that, we now have obsidian without needing any diamonds. This means now we can head to the nether, and we don't even have to die. I guess that's a good option too. I set the portal down directly inside the bunker, which goes against everything I believe in, but I want this to be pretty close. I don't want to dig out any empty areas with shadows where the blood moon could fill in any empty hallways. Does that make any sense? Anyway, doesn't really matter because the portal's down now. While getting access to the nether could completely change this playthrough and give us a ton of really valuable resources, don't get too excited, fellas. This is a massively nerfed version of the nether. We cannot farm gold or quartz or realistically anything other than netherrack. So for now, that's exactly what we do. Then we come back home to get 2 more infused iron. Now we can get some nether bricks and do another ritual of the forest, and this one's actually pretty cool. That's right, we can now make raw lead. Boomers be jealous. This ritual isn't just another step in our logbook. With raw lead, we can now start to work on a pretty cool new, amazing tech mod that I've never played before. And no, I'm not going to get your hopes up. Unfortunately, this isn't mechanisms. Yet. But instead, we're going to start to harness the power of the deep mantle magma as we start to use the new mod, Ember. And to be honest with you guys, once again, this mod right here might be worth an entire playthrough all by itself. But just like my girlfriend always tells me, I'm getting just a little too excited. To start, we need a good chunk of Caminite, which remember, just needs clay and sand, which again, just clay and sand. No, nothing new here. The next step is the new one. We need a lead plate, which takes 2 pieces of lead. With no cool machines or any sort of tech mods to help us double our ores, we just have to cook up the lead and turn it into just 1 plate. Then we use the lead to make a mechanical core, which is a core component in making the Ember Bore. Ah yes folks, that's right, we're doing some good old-fashioned fracking as we dig out the soul of this planet. Is this what it's like to live in Texas? I like it. Could use a little more Tex-Mex though. Well, it also looks like it could use some more lead too. We have to do another ritual of the forest to get 2 more raw lead. Each ritual only makes us 1 plate's worth of lead, and we still need to make another mechanical core in order to use the bore. What we definitely don't need is another blood moon. This does mean we're going to be trapped inside of our base. Now, that's not too bad. I think we should be safe, but if we don't put torches all over the place, and we keep on digging down in these super big holes like this, we could be in a little bit of trouble. And yes, we do have to do a lot of digging, because the Ember Bore has to be set down on bedrock. I wasn't lying when I said we were going to suck the core right out of the earth. Good news is the blood moon ends, so there's no real problem this time. The bad news is I ran out of stairs, because I'm not making a mine shaft that goes all the way down to bedrock without putting stairs in it. I'm not that dumb. So finally, we do hit the bedrock, and I start to dig out a mini little cave down here, because this will be our drilling outpost. Turns out, it's a good thing we made it a little bit bigger too, because the boring machine is actually 3 by 3 blocks wide. Next, we place a mechanical core on top, and I had to do a little bit of messing around to figure out exactly how to make this work. Should I have just Googled this up, looked up a YouTube video, or wikied it? Yeah, probably. Do I like sitting around wasting time trying to figure everything out on my own? Maybe. Am I a stubborn old man who won't admit that I don't know how to get something to work? Yes, definitely. Eventually, though, I actually do figure out how to make this work. We can use a hopper and a chest to get charcoal into the side of the mechanical core. The loud grinding sounds lets us know that I finally got this hunk of junk working. Ooh, look at that. I kind of like that big grinding wheel at the bottom. And as much as I do like that, I am going to have to sacrifice just a little bit more of my soul to the forest gods to get a little more lead. With it, we can make some more item pipes, the Ember version of a longitube for mechanism. We also have to make an item extractor to act kind of like a pump, because this is something that you're just going to have to do anytime you're using pipes in Ember. I think it is kind of cool though. It's a little bit more complex. And yeah, it's kind of an extra pain and uses more resources, but I don't know. I still think it just looks cool. I'm kind of on the fence about it. What I'm not on the fence about is getting this extractor on the mechanical core and piping everything out into a chest. Does that even count as a transition there? Man, I really suck at this YouTube thing. But what I don't suck at is getting all the Ember out of this boring machine. Oh yeah, that's a transition. We're right back at it, boys. Now our chest is filling up with Ember shards, grit, and crystals. We just have to find a way to use these little treats now. With some quick iron plates and a little bit of copper, we can get an Ember activator. You can think of this as kind of like a mini reactor. This will produce power, which will help us activate all of our Ember machines. Now I will say this part of Ember is pretty cool. I am definitely not on the fence about this one. This is just straight up really cool. I wish more mods did this. Instead of having a bunch of power cables and cords running all over our base, we can wirelessly move power using Ember emitters and receivers. Now, will the wireless Ember increase my odds of getting cancer? Maybe. But hey, that doesn't stop me from setting up a 5G router in my bedroom in real life, so let's do this. Speaking of room, we need to get back to making some room in our bunker. See, we're right back to the solid transitions, I got it. Next we have to head back to the copper farm. I'm not even farming copper right now. I just come here when I'm nervous so I can pee in the water and no one notices. Then I use all the copper we gathered to make a copper cell, which acts as a battery for Ember. We also set down a chest here, which I'm going to fill up with all my tech mod based kind of stuff. But speaking of tech mods, I'm not all about the science. No. We get back to our plants because I'm a true Renaissance man. Tech and farming. I have layers, like an onion. Oh, and speaking of onion, it's time to crossbreed so that we can start to grow ourselves some... No, I wish we could grow onions, that'd be cool. Instead, we're going to start to crossbreed some of the water artichokes, which, strange, I guess you can plant them outside of the water if they're on sticks, and we're going to crossbreed those with some snowbell. The parents are all grown up pretty well, so now it's time to set down some crossbars all throughout the middle row here. In no time, seriously, no time. I don't even think I had to make a cut here. We're already getting our super bright green dream come true. Sugarcane is now a native plant of this world and a new part of our farm. With it, we can continue to expand our farm even deeper back and start to set up even more of the dirt. But it's not just dirt this time, as we can add some sand in 2 rows with some water down the middle. Now I think all of you Minecraft players already know what I'm doing here. But yes, I'm going to be adding 2 rows of sugarcane on top of the sand. If you guys didn't know I was going to be putting sugarcane here on the sand like this, bro, I don't know, you're banned from my channel. I mean, I don't even know if you can ban a viewer from watching your YouTube videos, but I'll figure it out, I promise. With this new sugarcane, we can get paper, and I figure out how to make an Ember dial. An Ember dial will let us see how much Ember power is in whatever machine we decide to put it on. Now, we start to add some emitters to the activator and some relays on the batteries. We put some levers on the emitters, and with this little hammer here, we link them to the relays up on the battery. We then flip these levers to let power flow wirelessly up to the battery. I mean, assuming there's some power that could actually go up there. We just have to grab some Ember from our Earth Fracker 3000, then run back up top. Now, we put this chest right here, and we connect it to the activator, of course. Well, that is, once we connect it with an item pipe, of course. That has an extractor on it, of course. And then that extractor has a lever on top of it, of course. But to make all these materials, we are going to need some iron, of course, which means we need more copper, of course. So we have to expand our copper farm, of course. Honestly, at this point, I probably don't have to do this. I just really like making these ore farms. Like seriously, I'm really thinking about doing an entire video just about crossbreeding with AgriCraft. This mod pack, Reclamation, has so many awesome side mods that I could spend hundreds of days working on each one of them alone. Really, I could probably do an entire series of videos just working on this mod pack and all the side quests. And maybe I will. In fact, I dream about this new video series so deeply, pretending that I'm not just another 100 days slave, that an entire 2 days pass before I snap out of my silly little daydream. Good news is now we have a ton of iron cooking up. The bad news is it's now day 50 and we have the ultimate super blood moon. Now, to be totally honest with you guys, I've actually made such a safe bunker with such a solid design, I don't think I'm gonna have to leave. Hopefully, I can keep on working on my quests. But just in case, at the same time, I was a little curious. Dude, oh, look at these mobs. I think that one's riding a horse up on the hill. They have armor on. Dude, this is kind of a whole new level of blood moon over here. To be honest with you, I don't really know what all these mobs are that spawn during the blood moon, because I never really went to go find out. Now that I've seen just how dangerous all these mobs are that are coming out during these blood moons, I have to say I'm really glad that we made this cave as safe as we did. Or at least, that's what I thought. The blood moon is actually strong enough that it spawns a creeper right in the middle of my bunker. Like, seriously? Like, this is almost like an admin came in and spawned this right in the worst spot possible. Still, once again, the bunker defenses hold up and protect me, because this creeper does get stuck in some water and safely blows up. Now, I don't know if I've ever said the words safely blows up, but I don't care. I was way too scared that there would be even more mobs hiding in the shadows of my base. But after taking some time to check everything out, yeah, I actually think I'm okay. The blood moon sets, and we're still alive somehow, halfway through the playthrough, and we still have a ton of work to do though. I kinda need to hurry up here. I am way behind schedule. So, just like a kid who didn't do his homework last night, I'm cramming as fast as I can now. 3 forest rituals to get as much lead as I can, and we actually see a little perk here, as we can melt the lead down in the alchemical setup, which does end up giving us just a little more than double our lead. So yes, it turns out we do have a system that can help us double our ore that I found out on day 51. Finally, we do craft up the pipe extractors. Remember that? Remember from like 3 days ago, that was the whole point of what we were doing here? Yeah, like I said, we're getting a little bit behind and distracted. But it's all worth it in the end, because now we get some of our ember cooking up. I think. I mean, I can hear it, I think, but it doesn't look like it's doing anything. Once again, the shaders make this a little bit harder to see, but once I turn them off, yeah, I gotta admit, that does look kinda cool. Balls of fire shooting all around my lab, just like real 5G. At the same time though, ew, and icky. I cannot imagine playing Minecraft without shaders. So even though I can't see it all working, I'm gonna have to just guess that it's all still going okay. Luckily, the Ember dials really help us out here, because now we can see how much power is being made, and how much is being transferred up to the copper cell. Now, are these dials as cool as fireballs shooting through the air? No, but it'll do. More importantly, this lets us move on to making a heath coil. And, whoa, I honestly had no idea it was going to be a 3x3 huge machine, kind of like the boar. I also had no idea how to use it, because even after I do manage to find some room to set it down, I can't really figure out how to hook it up to the battery and get it powered. Turns out, you have to use a mechanical core connected to it, kind of like you did with the boar, and then you have to pipe out all the finished resources over into this little chest. Once we get the mechanical core upside down, we attach the receptor so that we can get this thing warming up. And seriously, I do mean warming up. It actually takes time to spool up and get heated. The good news is that it doesn't actually use that much power while it's running, so we can let it go for a long time until it reaches its full power level. Kind of like a Super Saiyan. That's when this thing will be its most efficient. Luckily, we don't have to wait 3 episodes to reach our power level of over 9,000, and we can already start to throw in anything that we want to cook up that we would normally put in a furnace. You just set it right on top here, and as you can see, all this cobblestone is being Thanos snapped right into stone super fast. I can even take all of these logs and get stacks and stacks of charcoal, and this only consumes super small amounts of ember, and it's done in seconds. Now we can use all this charcoal that we got for very, very cheap, and then we can get even more ember with it, which gets us more charcoal. The ember mod basically gets you infinite ember. You don't have to work too hard for it. The real trick about Ember is you just have to plan how to efficiently use all the power that you're given. And we're going to be using it to make as much Caminite from all the sand and clay as we possibly can. So we craft up stacks and stacks, like a whole inventory full of raw Caminite. Now we just need a furnace to cook this up. But it'll take so long, and it will use so much charcoal, you guys. What will we ever do? Yeah, you already know where we're going with this. In fact, we cook up so much Caminite in this giant hearth coil that it actually starts to spit some of it up the top here. And as silly as this is, I love this thing. More of this in my life, please. Okay, so what can we do with all this cooked stone and Caminite bricks we've just made? Well, we can easily and basically for free decorate the entire bunker. I start to lay out a cool pattern that I think makes the bunker look a lot more strong, much more sturdy. I really like this dwarven fortress style look. Yeah, getting this all set up, it's coming out pretty good. In fact, I think I'm going to use this for my thumbnail. Yeah, let's do it. At the same time, though, we didn't just make all these bricks to look pretty. Okay, it was mostly just to be pretty, I won't lie to you. But we can also craft up our next item, the melter and the stamper. The melter lets us, well, melt our metals as long as we can hook it up to the Wi-Fi. Then we can set up our stamper with a stamp base under it and connect it to the fluid pipes. The fluid pipes, not item pipes, since the metal will then be melted down into a fluid. For example, we can melt up this copper. Wow, I gotta say, it does look pretty cool in there. Then we can throw the switch and... yeah, nothing. Sorry, I didn't mean to tease you there. Makes you feel any better, I was totally teasing myself. I even thought hooking the stamper up to power was going to make it work too, but nah. We still need one more fix here. We need to craft up some stamps to put on the stamper, which does make sense. We have 4 options. So let's start by making an ingot stamp. And yes, that's how I'm going to be pronouncing it. Then we make a plate stamp and cook them both up. Once the stamp is on the stamper, we get the metal. Stamped, I guess. This does let us make plates with 1 ingot instead of making them with 2, which is already an improvement. But it's only the beginning of the perks of the melter setup. The real reason this is so useful is Dawnstone, the primary metal of Ember. It is a key item that we need to continue to get life back to this planet. Dawnstone is pretty simple, it's just made out of copper and gold, but it does mean we're going to have to go all the way back down to the tech tree to unlock gold. Yes, that's right, we're set all the way back to when we were just making grass, and go back to starting to grow flowers. I got a little carried away with all my Ember fun, and I was hoping we could just use tech mods to bring life back. I forgot just how much magic stuff we had left behind. Time for us to catch up and get those flowers turned into dye, and then turn the dye into floral fertilizer. We then come back down to our amazing, beautiful underground forest, and use the floral fertilizer on the grass to make mythical flowers. First off, I love these things. The flowers just look cool, period. But also, these will let us make some pretty cool items like our next magic altar. To do this though, we're going to need specifically white flowers, and well, yeah, this does take some time. Now, the good news is, we can use all the flowers that aren't white flowers to make more dye, which we can then use to make more fertilizer, which should let us be able to just keep on doing this loop and get a ton of mythical flowers. And it works, because we get another one of those white flowers. 1. Yeah, 1. We need a total of 3. So I embrace my inner flower boy, and I spend the next few minutes growing flowers and frolicking through the fields. Of course, this is all with an important purpose, so I would call it more like tactical frolicking. And it all does work out, because soon we do get enough petals. However, before I make the next altar, I do a quick detour here, and I start to crossbreed up some pumpkins, which I can't really use them for much, but I'm hoping they'll be useful later. I hope. But for now, we can use the pumpkins to continue crossbreeding to make some daisy flowers. Hey, pretty neato, eh? Yeah, well, this is actually where the strength stat of your crops comes into play. Needless to say, these daisies were a little too weak. Needless to say, with strength 1, these daisies were about as weak as, well, daisies. So while we can't get these daisies to grow right now, we can at least take out our frustrations by making these godless horrors on Earth that are strength 10 potatoes. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why would the captain waste precious time doing this? Because it's awesome. I could honestly spend hours just crossbreeding crops and trying to get max stats here, just for the fun of it. By breeding these taters, then taking the best stats and rebreeding them, then throwing away the weaker children, just like they do in Sparta, we can slowly boost up the next generation, hopefully getting better and better stats. I think it's working. Now, is this how evolution works? I don't know, don't ask me, I went to public school. But what I can tell you is this Enderman does not approve of what we're doing here. Honestly, I don't blame him. But hey, our defiance in the face of God and the natural order do pay off, because soon we get a 10 gain potato. This means that when we harvest this potato, it will give us the maximum yield of potatoes per harvest. Not too bad. Of course, I take a little time spreading out all the clones to make an entire patch of 10 gain taters. Now, is this a huge waste of time? Maybe, but the lessons I learned here crossbreeding these plants will come in handy much later on. But for now, we head back to the forest and keep on trying to get those flowers. More flowers means more dye. More dye means more floral fertilizer. More floral fertilizer means we have even more white mythical flowers to make our next altar. And yes, that's right. That's the real reason I was trying to do all the crossbreeding. I thought I could take a shortcut here and try to grow some of these white flowers. Needless to say, I couldn't, and it was a huge waste of time. But it's all good, because once we get some space in the bunker, we can set down our petal apothecary. Now, we should be ready to move forward. With just 4 white petals and a couple seeds, we can make a pure daisy. This is a truly magical flower, and it's going to help us get our gold along with a ton of other items. By putting it here and surrounding it with just any kind of logs, we already see these small little glitters of true magic growing stronger all around the wood. By the way, kids, if you see this in real life, get out of your house immediately. That's carbon monoxide poisoning, and that's no good. But for us, it's actually great, because now we can get living wood. And while sadly that has nothing to do with Groot, it is a key part of Botany, the next mod we'll be using in this mod pack. We can also add some stone around the daisy to get some living rock, another important item to advance us through the mods. But like I said, the real thing I'm looking for is trying to get gold, and that's a little bit tougher. Once again, we have to cook up more saplings to try to get, that's right, more brilliant fiber. By combining the brilliant fiber and some netherrack bricks, we can make golden nether bricks. Now, just like with the golden leaves that spread to other leaves, I was hoping that the golden nether would spread to the other bricks. You'll note that hope was the key word in that very, very desperate statement. Speaking of desperate, as I continue to try to get some gold, another blood moon starts in. And yeah, if you can't tell, I am super over these things. This time, I just straight up board up the front door, and hopefully I never have to go outside again. Since I am trapped down in this dark, dank nightmare of my own making, I decide to get even more mutagen and try to convert even more saplings. I get an Adler sapling, but that'll come in use much later. For now, the real reason I'm doing this is to try to get more Rowan saplings to get even more brilliant fibers. Now go ahead, ask me how it's going. Did you guess not great? Well, ding 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 ding, you win. And I lose, because I think I spent another 2 days trying to get the right saplings. I legit think I might have spent an entire 14 days out of the 100 just trying to get these brilliant fibers. I don't really know. I kind of just pulled those numbers out of thin air. Don't go back and like check the video. All I can say is it definitely feels like I've been doing this for the entire wipe. Eventually, we get another 3 brilliant fibers and another 2 golden brick, which I was thinking was pretty good. Well, what's super not good is that the golden bricks are not spreading. So it means we're going to need even more brilliant fibers in the very near future. However, the thought of making more brilliant fibers is causing me more pain than being forced to build with birch wood. And that's pretty bad. So for now, we're just going to take a break. We're going to set all these golden nether bricks around the daisy and watch the carbon monoxide slowly end our suffering. And by end our suffering, of course, I mean that we get our first gold nuggets. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't even turn into gold ore. This mod pack is such a piece of silliness. But before I totally lose my cool, let's take a little break from making the brilliant fibers and do something that I actually like doing. I start to crossbreed even more Cuprosia, the copper plants, to see if I can get the 10 stats. This way, I maximize my copper yield. Now, will this help us get gold? No, it will not. But I don't even care anymore. Look, I have infinite copper, and you're just jealous. To be honest though, getting an infinite amount of iron is something jealous-worthy. Is that even a real word? I don't know. Anyway, on day 70, we're back to business, which means we're making mana. This is obviously using even more magic, but this one I actually think I'm okay with. Going even deeper into the Botania, we finally get ready to unlock the use of mana. Which means we're going back down into the deeper bunker, and even with all of my frustration making the brilliant fiber, I have to say, I really do love how this double bunker has come out. We use those mythical petals, 1 red, 1 gray, and 2 brown to be exact. Now, is there a number 2 and a brown joke somewhere in there? Yes, but let's be honest, we all know I lack the comical ability to pull off a joke like that. What I can pull off is making the Endo Flame flower. And then, just like my inner Harry Potter would desire, I finally make a wand out of living wood and some petals. Now, we can set up the mana pool array setup thingy. We just need to burn something in the Endo flower, kind of like a furnace, and then using the wand, we link it to the mana spreader, also made out of living wood. Then link the mana spreader into the mana pool. Now, we just need to keep on feeding these flowers. And yes, I do mean plural, because I'm starting to make even more flowers because you know how impatient I can be. And luckily, things are going much quicker once we get all these flowers connected to the mana pool and get some juice in it. Now, unfortunately, it is time to leave our cozy little bunker, because we have to head out and try to find an ender pearl next. Of course, like the bazillionaire that I am, once I step out my front door, I do have to crush the annoying rift raft. But soon, after washing all the pillager blood off my sword, I can try to hunt down our enderman. Now, in my defense, I did ask this enderman nicely if he could give me his pearls. I even offered to give him some of my taters, but no, he had to be difficult. And look, this one didn't even drop a pearl. What a jerk. Now, I don't even feel bad for hunting down and wiping out his entire bloodline. Sadly, they don't feel bad wiping out my shield, which, did make this fight a little bit scary there, ooh. But either way, we do eventually get our pearl. By the way, guys, where exactly on an enderman does the pearl come from? Like, is it his eyes, or, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to think about it. Let's just focus on turning this pearl into a mana pearl, which we can then turn into a runic altar, the next altar in our journey. Yes, I do think this is like the 6th altar we've made at this point, but it is what it is. After all, this one's pretty cool because it can get us blaze powder. We just need to use this altar to make a fell pumpkin, using the items you get from killing mobs. And at this point, I just have to say it. This is definitely necromancy. There's no way to deny this. We're just straight up using pieces of corpses like creeper gunpowder and creating a blaze Frankenstein monster. I love it. I do not love how we don't have enough of said gunpowder, so we have to head back out that night to try to get some mob drops. And you know, try not to die. We then finally get to use some of those pumpkins we crossbred. See, I told you they'd come in use. Then, with 1 piece of living rock, we add 1 gunpowder, rotten flesh, a bone, string, and a quest book. wait, oh no, no. That's my one lifeline. It's the only thing keeping me going. Oh god, I pushed the science too far. I deserve this. Oh, okay. Thank god we got our quest book back there. I wasn't scared at all. No. That was just me acting, you guys. Come on now. Anyway, now we can add our pumpkin instead. And with all that added, finally, nothing. Yeah, it turns out we're going to have to power this with mana. So I decide to pack everything up and move this more to the center of the forest. With everything hooked up and the flowers all fed with their fiery fuel, the fell pumpkin slowly starts to come to life. See? Look at the little green pie chart loading thingy. When this fills up, with a flick of our wand, the fell pumpkin comes to life. It's official. We're evil wizards of the dark arts. Sadly though, not very smart ones, because I kind of didn't know how to actually make the fell pumpkins work. I mean, come on. A pumpkin on top of 2 living rock? This totally looks like this should work. Well, it turns out that 2 iron bars with the fell pumpkin on top is the real answer. Fine, definitely not as cool, but whatever. Honestly, seems kind of lame if you ask me. But it's okay, because we can take our frustrations out on this knockoff blaze instead. These blazes do not drop blaze rods, sadly, but they do give us 10 blaze powder. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to use this yet, but I am sure that we're going to have to use the witch oven even more. Great. This time, we burn up oak trees to get some exhale of the horned one. Ooh, spooky. Then we burn up some birch to get some more goddess juice. Oh, ew. Ew, God, what did I just say? Not like that. Guys, stop. Moving on. Okay, moving on quickly. Moving on. We combine these 2 fumes with a nugget of gold and some rowan wood to make, you guessed it, yet another altar. Yep, that's right. We have to make like, what, the 7th one? In fact, we actually have to make a total of 6 of these blocks. Yeah, that's right. That means we have to make even more of these fumes. Man, if I didn't hate witchcraft magic before, I really can't stand it now. But nonetheless, I'm an obedient little witch, so I'll keep on growing up even more birch and oak. And I'll keep on burning them up as well, and finally, we get enough of each fume to make a new altar. Wait a minute. I mean, think about it, we're in an enclosed bunker. I wonder how many fumes it would take to officially hotbox this place. Is that why I feel so happy to be here, even though I have to grow birch? It definitely would explain all the munchies I have as I go to pick even more of these tater tots. I mean, only that could make us like microwave tater tots. Heck, it makes me love them. I'm talking, of course, about witchcraft stuff. What'd you think I was talking about? Come on, you little stoners. Well, fumes and taters aside, we do officially get our 6 altar blocks made up. Now, we just have to set them down. This time, however, I don't think we'll put this altar in the bottom bunker, because I'm pretty sure it has to be in range of the witch's cauldron. Now, the whole reason that we had made this witchy altar in the first place was to make an attuned stone, which, of course, means we have to get yet another ender pearl. Now this time, I actually decide to engage my frontal lobe and make a small 2-block shelter to farm said ender pearl. And it works. Kind of. We craft up yet another mana pearl, and now we get ready for the next step in the dark arts. We throw the mana pearl, a golden leaf, and some magical farts into the witchy cauldron, and a nothing. Now, normally, if I put all these valuable items in here and nothing happened, it would be a little bit upsetting. Almost as upsetting as my love life. But kind of like my love life, I sort of already knew that this was doomed from the start. See, this is why we made the new witchy altar. It powers up the cauldron for even more advanced recipes, like this one. Now, this time, I don't think I'm going to put this altar down in the bottom bunker, because I think we have to have it in range of the witch cauldron. The good news is, once I see this red cloth over the whole altar, it makes me think that this should be working. The bad news is, well, it's not working. See, this ritual needs 500 altar power. We only have 417. Yeah, because of course we do. So, I quickly start to hit the books, trying to find out how we upgrade the power of our altar. And though all this learning does make my brain itch, I quickly see the book does say that the altar draws its power from nature itself. Now, is this just some flowery language to build up the immersion of the mod? Or does it like literally draw power from organic and natural items in the world? With this, we have all the answers we need. 463. The altar does in fact draw power from logs and leaves. Now we start to open up this entire side of the bunker to grow even more nature for this altar, officially making this side of the bunker our magical side. And because I've decided I officially want to lean into this new look, I grabbed some cherry blossom logs and leaves as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do like the olive rowan logs and leaves, but like, come on now. Cherry logs make this room look like a true 12-year-old girl's bedroom, which is where I imagine most witches get their start. All these frilly, hot pinks in this absolutely gorgeous room. I love it. So I decide to keep with the theme, and I start to plant all these mythical flowers, giving this room the only true spot on this entire planet you could really call pleasant. Once again, we do have some good news, as the altar has made its way all the way up to 639 power. More than enough. And of course, that means the bad news is that the cauldron isn't working. So I think we're gonna have to start from scratch. Did you hear that, Mr. Enderman? Well, soon enough, yet another brave Enderman gives his life. Come on now. I called you brave. Time to be a hero, buddy. There we go. Once again, we gain another mana pearl. And once again, we put our mana pearl, our golden leaf, and those magical fumes all into the cauldron. Sure enough, this time, after all the sparkles come up, finally, we get our attuned stone. Yay. I'm overcome with joy. Truly. Well, the next step definitely doesn't bring me any joy, because I see that the attuned stone is used to make some of the magical tools in the enchanted mod. Unfortunately, we're going to have to build 3 of these said tools. And yes, that means we're going to have to make 2 more attuned stones. Yikes. Well, it's not all bad though. The first machine that we make with our attuned stone is a spinning wheel. And with this, we can use our blaze powder in here to make a ton of brilliant fiber. Yeah, finally some actual good news. In fact, we get 24 brilliant fiber, something that would have taken us like hours of growing trees, and now we can make a ton more gold. This news is so good, I almost forgot all the bad news. That is that we have to get 4 more ender pearls at least. Yeah. After a whole day and night of fighting and farming up all of our pearls, we managed to get ourselves 2, but honestly, this will still be a big help. Eventually, we craft up another attuned stone, and okay, I'll admit it, this magical stuff, it definitely sucks. I don't like it, but I do kind of like this little witchy room. It does look pretty good. Now, on day 81, we can craft up our 3rd attuned stone, and with it, we can make a distillery. Good, because I could use a stiff drink. Also, this lets us craft up our kettle, which seems kind of redundant. Like, anything you could make in a kettle, you'd think you could make in the witch's cauldron. But you know what? Whatever. I don't care. The 3 machines are all done, and that means we can now move on to our next quest. Hopefully with a little less magic. Aha, listen to me, having hopes. Oh, how naive I was, because the magic had actually just begun. Because now we were going to make chalk that we were going to use in ritualistic magical circles. Yikes. Uh-oh. So first, the chalk, the basic chalk. It's pretty simple. It's just fumes, some quicklime, which you can get from the ash that you make in the witch's oven, and you put all of this into the distillery. So no, it turns out it doesn't make alcohol. Yeah, it turns out that was just too good to be true. But making this gypsum is still pretty good. 3 of them with some more of the ash, and we can make our first chalk. That means we've made the first out of 4. So what's next? The golden chalk, which we make out of some dawnstone. Finally, we can get away from this magic for just a second here and get back into the lab, as we start to use embers once again to try to get our dawnstone. Remember, the whole reason we had to give up on dawnstone is because it's a mixture of copper, which we have an infinite amount of, but also gold. Woof. Or perhaps not so woof. First, let's start by crafting up our mixer centrifuge. We can simply stamp up a few iron plates, and soon we have everything we need to make our next Ember machine. We set it down right here, why not? And then we get some pipes connecting to it, setting it up correctly. We want to get the pipes from the melter into the mixer first, then from the mixer back over to the stamper. First, we melt up our copper, and then we get that piped into the mixer. You can tell that the copper has been piped into the centrifuge because there's some colored copper in the centrifuge. I know, complicated, try to keep up, you guys. Next, we melt up some gold. We just pipe that into the other side of the mixer. Soon, they combined into this goldeny copper material at the bottom of the centrifuge. And if you guys guessed that the golden coppery material was Dawnstone, which is made out of golden copper, wow, you guys are just little geniuses, aren't you? Once this is piped into the stamper, we get our very first plate of Dawnstone. Hooray. Now, did I mean to make a plate when in reality what we actually need is an ingot to get the golden chalk? Haha, shut up. Who asked you? Besides, what's more important is that we're actually going to start to work on the second mixer. Since we can only melt one metal at a time, this makes things much easier. With the two melters now piped into the top of the mixer, we can melt copper and gold at the same time and make a ton more Dawnstone much more efficiently. And yes, okay, I did finally remember to use the ingot stamper this time. So does that count as a growth or like a character arc? I don't know. What I do know is now that we have a decent supply of Dawnstone, we can start to make some of Ember's best tools and fun toys. With Dawnstone, you can start by making the Clockwork Pickaxe. Perfect. What's that? You want to test it out and use it? Oh, you thought that just because we made it means we can use it? Oh, come on. You know it's never that simple. First, we have to make an Ember jar and a copper charger to charge up said Ember jar. And yes, I will turn off the shaders here so you can see exactly how this works. The Ember goes from the copper cell into the charger, and now the Ember jar should be pretty charged up. Now, if you hold the Ember jar in your inventory, this will power up the new pickaxe, which is pretty cool. It mines faster than any pickaxe we've ever had, which is decent. But let's start to get the really cool part of Ember, the ray gun, or the blazing ray. I guess that does sound a lot cooler. If you couldn't already guess by the name, the blazing ray uses charge from your Ember jars to shoot a laser that does a high amount of damage to whatever poor, sad little creature is in your path. And of course, I'm gonna run outside immediately to go test it out. It 3-shots a creeper, which is pretty much the same damage as a bow, but it doesn't need any arrows, and the shot goes straight and has no drop-off. Most importantly, it just looks cool. Unlike this nasty Reclamation world with all the shaders off. Gross. Now, back inside our lab, we start to make up our next tool, the Grand Hammer. If we can manage to get a ton more Dawnstone, 2 whole blocks worth. Critically, this is a little tough because it requires so much gold. Now, I would never use so much time just to be getting a few extra weapons here. But since we now officially have the spinning wheel making a ton of gold for us, it's much easier to get a lot more Dawnstone. You know, okay, maybe some of these witchy items aren't so bad. Still, it is a lot of Dawnstone, so we're gonna have to get some more blaze powder. Speaking of magic, we get back to doing some light necromancy as we summon up another Timu blaze. Also, this does give me a chance to test out my ray gun, and I must say it is kind of weird. If you use it with a shield, you alternate between holding up the shield and shooting the gun, but it still works pretty well. Now, my entire base burning up from the inside out? Yeah, that doesn't work so well for me. And to be honest with you though, maybe I deserve this. Maybe this is God punishing me for all the dark blood magic that we've been doing. Still, whether we deserve it or not, we do manage to get some more fibers, more gold, which makes more Dawnstone. Now we have everything we need to make our big, grand hammer. An impressive weapon with 10 damage. Plus, it lights your targets on fire so you can kill them quickly or slowly. Oh, and speaking of being killed, we get another blood moon tonight as we continue to try to farm even more gold. While these bloodmoons are continuing to get more and more dangerous, now that we have all these weapons and some really good gear, I'm actually feeling pretty safe, and I decide for now I'm just going to continue with my work. Now, will this come back to haunt me in the end? Probably, but for now we get even more gold nether bricks so we can make even more dawnstone. Also, I turn one piece of gold into some tainted gold, important for later. But for now, we are mostly focused on getting some more gold cooked up. I do power cook up some more charcoal, and I use it to get even more ember, but for the rest of today, we're pretty much just working on getting some extra dawnstone for right now. And I do use some of that dawnstone to make a pretty cool under armor chainmail shirt, so I can feel just like Frodo. Unfortunately, I can only spend so much time in the lab with all these cool tech mods before inevitably I have to head back to the witchcraft. See, in order to make our golden chalk, we do need the dawnstone, but we also need 3,000 altar power. Yeah, that's 3 with 3 zeros behind it, and we only have 600 right now. And remember, this is after I actually tried to boost up the power of this altar too. For now, I try to plant some more crops in the witching room to see if this will raise up the power, and it does, but only by about 4 points per plant. It's pretty obvious right here, this is going to be a real problem. Oh, and speaking of problems, this happened. Yeah, I have genuinely no idea what was going on at this point. I just tried to break a mandrake plant, and now I think I'm being teleported to the upside down here. Well, hey, at least this is a good chance to get to test out our big hammer. Okay, goodbye, little guy. Well, after whatever that was, I get right back to trying to bring up the witch altar power, and I am kind of doing an okay job at it. I managed to boost it up 100 more points right away by planting all these potatoes. Sadly, we only get to 700 and this entire room is pretty much full. I do try to break the roof and replace it with leaves. Even more nature for even more power, right? Well, this actually doesn't seem to work as well. It turns out there's an upper limit to the amount of one type of plant that will raise the altar's power. So no, you can't just plant like 5,000 potatoes to get the altar fully powered. I mean, that would work to power me up, but I guess we will have to find another way. I head down into my forest, hoping to farm up different types of leaves so I can bring them up to the altar. When it hits me, I start to get a better idea. And this idea starts with, you guessed it, making this bunker even bigger. I start to dig out a huge amount of room down here and immediately start to fill it up with as much dirt as I can manage. Now, the process of growing dirt from all this dried earth does take me a while, but at the same time, I kind of like this. This does take me back to my day 5 struggles, and it reminds me of just how far we've come. Also, it does mean that we're making the bunker even bigger and way more impressive. And you know me, I'll always be a sucker for building a more massive bunker. Sadly though, I guess I don't even know myself, because I would have never thought that the first thing I would be doing is putting a bunch of birch down in my bunker. But it does all make sense, because we start putting trees of every single type. See, the more diversity of life you have, the better it is for the altar. And if you haven't already figured out my plan by now, I'm going to be moving the altar down into the bottom bunker, where we will have this literal forest for it to power it up. Already, I set the altar down, and it has 1,069, nice, power, and most of the trees haven't even grown yet. Each growing tree boosts the power, but we aren't done there. Now, we start to set up a new farm to plant all of our crops down here to add to the diversity of life. I do some quick experiments to find out that each plant does in fact power up the altar, which is good, and I soon discover that you can have exactly 20 of each plant type before it no longer begins to add to the power of the altar. So, we now have to make a farm with 20 of each type of crop that we've ever managed to collect or crossbreed in this entire playthrough. Now, is this going to take a long time? And do I not have very much time left? Both yes. But honestly, I kind of don't care at this point. This is really the first part of Witchcraft I'm actually fully on board with. A mod pack that rewards you for creating a massive, diverse, colorful farm/forest/nature preserve? Yeah, count me in. I mean, the whole point of what we're doing here in Reclamation is trying to recreate the life of this world. So yes, please, let's make this altar powered up to over 9,000. More water artichokes in a line like this with some sugarcane needs more power. Now we're officially up to 1,700. Okay. Don't get me wrong, we're going in the right direction, but I've used almost every single plant that I have, and the trees have mostly all grown, and we're barely halfway there. Uh-oh. Now I'm really getting desperate here. I even pull a little trick here where I cut out some of the tree trunks to make more room on the ground to grow crops. Now, how exactly are all these trees just magically floating in the air? Don't think about it too much. It's magic, right? Now, the bad news is we're still at just 1967, excellent year, and we need 1,000 more power. But the good news is, there is no good news. We only have 10 days left. Luckily, I remember that we can make some upgrades to the altar, which will double its power. Unluckily, we need some more ender pearls in order to do this. So at the start of day 91, we head back out to get some more endy boys. I use my laser gun to blast some of them in the face, and soon we do get more pearls. I also stay out and blast up some mobs, mostly because it's fun, but also because we are going to need some more loot in order to make another felt pumpkin. We get back home to charge ourselves up, and also to plant any more seeds that we found. Finally, at the very end of my natural altar building career, I max out at 2,345, pretty cool, power, but I think it's time to turbo boost. We move the Witch's Cauldron down and set it directly on top of the altar and get ready to make our next attuned stones. We pop in the Mana Pearl, Golden Leaf, and yes, more magical farts. And I have to admit, seeing this magical cauldron here in this overgrown natural spooky forest with all these like witchy pumpkins around it, it is pretty cool. In fact, the only thing more cool is ice cream. But something that's cool that's in game here is this cauldron. Once we add this on top of the altar, it doubles our power up to 4,762. Not as good as ice cream, but it is pretty darn close. So I see that we should be able to use our chalk, dawnstone, and a mandrake root, and of course that 4,000 powered altar to make our golden chalk. So we do. And the magical sparks that show up are the best ones I've seen yet. Plus the fact that we finally get this legendary golden chalk doesn't hurt either. Now, we just need those two other chalks. Wonder how much power Oh no. We need netherwort. Ooh, that's not good. First off, the red chalk just straight up does need the netherwort. Then the purple chalk of otherware does need a whole bunch more stuff, including the netherwort. Seeing this, I don't know, boys. I don't think we're going to finish this one in time. But there is still hope. And of course, it comes in the form of farming. And a little bit of tech mods too. See, I knew there was a reason I wanted to stick with this mod pack. Starting with some of the dawnstone. Copper, ember crystals in the middle here, almost like we're building a lightsaber. But this beam cannon is so much stronger than a lightsaber, it would blast Darth Vader back to the light side. Oh, wait a minute. Anyway, we also craft up something called the exchange table, and we even make an alchemy pedestal. But before we can set those up, I decide to take advantage of the daylight, and I head out to try to hunt down another Enderman. Honestly, this part right here might be the worst part of the mod. But luckily, with the laser rifle, I can blast these little guys before they even manage to get close. Oh, well, except for this one that gets right up in my face. Never mind. You know what? Turn the video off right here. Don't pay attention to this. As soon as we have a couple of pearls, we can start to head back home. Now, first, we stop off down in the bunker and craft up ourselves a felt pumpkin. We're going to need this little guy to get ourselves some more blaze powder. Isn't that right, Mr. Blaze? Well, come on. Get down here. Accept your fate, you silly little Billy. And now that we've got that all dealt with, we head out to get just a few more ender pearls. I know it seems like I'm a little scatterbrained here, but I promise you this will all make sense. I'm just in a real hurry here. Okay, here we go. Back on track. Next up, we craft up an alchemy pedestal. Now, if you're thinking that's a mistake in the script and I just repeated myself, because we've already made an alchemy pedestal, well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's a decent guess. I totally wouldn't put something like that past me. But no, actually, we have to make 4 of these things. And now we set them all up around the exchange table, kind of like this. And finally, for the last piece of this setup, did you guess we were going to have to use the beam cannon? Well, ding ding ding, you win. And after getting this thing hooked up with some power, I win too, because this little setup right here might be my favorite part of Ember. This part here with these aspectus, yeah, not so much. See, first we have to craft up the aspectus, which we can do by melting some iron, then stamping in a piece of ember shard, which isn't the hard part at all. Just you wait. For now, we can just set some ember grit on the exchange table, and then we put the aspectus, which sounds so much like asbestos, anyway, on all the pedestals. With the pedestals holding the right materials and the correct aspectus on them, we are ready to fire this bad boy up. Okay, now I definitely know that's a pun, because this whole mod runs around fire, but regardless about how hilarious I am, I'm a little too busy to laugh, because once this cannon is charged up, we fire it. And now, it makes this weird circle on the exchange table, which, I mean, it's cool and all, but I don't really think this looks right here. Anyway, that doesn't really matter right now. What matters is we managed to turn the grit and the 4 cobblestone into 4 netherrack. I know. Not too impressive, because, like, we already have a ton of netherrack. But honestly, this was just a test. First off, I just wanted to see how the whole thing would look, and, well, I was right to think that it looked a little weird. And once we turn off the shaders, this ritual might be the coolest looking thing we've done so far. The cannon blasts the table, and the pedestals stretch coils of fire into the center. Yeah, this definitely does look way more cool. But not as cool as this finished product. Alchemical waste. The result of a failed experiment with the aspectus that are not on the correct materials. Now it destroyed the grit and some of the materials on the pedestal. Yes, I am stressing this and bringing this up for a very important reason. Pay attention. After smashing up some of the waste, we get a little bit of ash, which we can actually use for another recipe. So it wasn't a total mistake. Yeah, you know what, I actually meant to do this. Yeah. Now, using some sand on the pedestals, with ash in the center, we can try another recipe. We set the aspectus up, but to be honest, I'm just guessing if these are right or not. Then we blast this thing once again. And no good. Turns out, the aspectus have to be put in the right order with the right materials on the pedestals. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how do you figure that out? Fortunately, you just have to experiment. Trial and error. And every failed experiment can ruin some of your materials. Yeah, a real nightmare. Maybe this isn't my favorite part of Embers after all. So this time we try it with 4 iron aspectus, even though the recipe in the JUI says that we're supposed to use dawnstone. And it works. Really. Yeah, so the JEI straight up was just lying to us now. I mean, now, in the end, the whole thing worked. I did get some soul sand, so I should be happy, but yeah, this is not a good sign for the future. Even the wiki online says that the recipe changed server to server, so I can't even look this up to get the right aspectus and cheat, even if I wanted to. Which I never would, of course. Finally, farming. Something I totally, completely understand here. He said, having absolutely no idea what he was getting himself into. With the soul sand down, I started to get the 2 parent crops ready to crossbreed, and then sure enough, we do get some brown mushrooms, which is good, right? Wrong. Because no matter what, they're just not able to grow. With the magnifying glass, I can see that these poor little weak things are nowhere near strong enough to grow in these conditions. we need to get stronger parents to make mushrooms that are strong enough to grow agriculturally. So this means we go right back to crossbreeding up some potatoes. Now this time, instead of trying to get 10 gain stats, we're going to be aiming to get 10 strength stat. This should make us able to grow in any environment, even in this smelly little bunker. Now, this crossbreeding process took way too long, and I am cutting out a ton of footage here, but like a whole day later, we do successfully get our brown mushroom with strength 10. The bad news is, like I said, again, we don't need soul sand to grow brown mushrooms. I don't know why I thought that this whole time. But hey, I can take this with my little shovel here and move it off to the side and keep it growing for later. I mean, the very fact that this is growing at all gives me hope that we might actually be able to pull this all off. Now we need to get the mandrakes up to strength 10. And you might be thinking to yourself, why? You've already got the hybrid with the appropriate strength, right? Yeah, well, now we need red mushrooms, which needs mandrake again, and carrots. So to be honest with you, what I should have done this entire time is I should have just bred up strength 10 mandrakes and probably could have crossbred them to get both kinds of mushrooms. But I mean, you know how it is. Dumb Cappy is dumb. Now we have strength 10 for both of these mushrooms. We just need to crossbreed them both with each other. We set the brown mushroom down on one side and the red down on the other, with, finally, some soul sand in the middle. After many attempts, we get them. Yup, that's right. We've now just crossbred up netherwort. All this from just some simple crops. Yeah, I've got to say, AgriCraft is pretty awesome. The fact that it's already day 98? Not so awesome. We need to hurry. With our distillery, again, we cook up some ash to get some more gypsum and make another chalk. Now finally, we can combine the netherwort, the bar of tainted gold, see, I told you this would come up later, and with all this, we can finally get our nether chalk. This ritual does take 2,000 power, but we've already got that set up, so this is easy. Once we have all of our ingredients inside of our little witchy cauldron, these red and green lights start to rise up, and I have to say, they look pretty good too. Finally, we have our red chalk. And all that's left is to make the purple chalk. This is the real reason we needed all of those ender pearls. I told you guys, all that stuff I was doing was going to come together in the end. Oh, wait a minute, is that another pun? Because they're ender pearls? You know what? I'm not even going to think about that. For now, I'm just focusing on making another mana pearl, which we can use to make another attuned stone. We're almost done, which is good, because the 100 days are almost done too. We just need some more netherwort, an attuned stone, an ender pearl, and some more of that chalk. The purple sparkles rise out of our witchy little cauldron, and finally, after all this witchy hard work, we have one of each chalk. Sadly though, our suffering isn't over yet. We still have a few more things to do, and we have to head out on our last day to find some mob loot so we can make just one more fell pumpkin. But even as night sets, while I'm out here, I notice something. I'm not even afraid of the bloodmoons, like, at all. I've advanced so much and become so strong, I finally have put all of those events in my past. I can fully look forward to getting some new materials, like this blue powder, which is clearly methamphetamines, and making another fell pumpkin. But I'm not done just yet, because I also have to take this meth and mix it with some netherwort, an ember shard, nether brick, and a blue brick of meth. Yum. All of this on a runic altar, and we get 2 runes of fire. And not a second too late either, because it's now day 100, and we're almost out of time. We need yet another area to set out our chalk circle rituals, so we dig just a layer underneath the entire altar. I do think this still has to be close to it. First, we make our central mark with our golden chalk, And now we just have to make a circle around this with the red chalk. Now these rituals can get really crazy and elaborate, but this first one is pretty small and pretty simple. Now we just set out the 4 components in the middle, our fumes, the rebirth, the fell pumpkin, and one of those runes, and okay, wow. I mean, guys, look at this. This is no longer just some like fun little witchcraft here. We are just straight up doing a satanic ritual. Like, let's just be clear. And yeah, no surprise, after doing this, a literal demon rises out of our pentagram offering to Satan here. But sadly for him, it turns out that I was the true whore all along, as I quickly kill this silly little devil creature. With a true blaze rod in our hands, we can make up 3 brewing stands. This will let us make something called an alchemy catalyst. God, there's so many alchemy mods in this mod pack. This goes underneath the mana pool and unlocks a few new recipes. For example, we can now turn a piece of flax into a feather, the first ever feather on this world. We do take a quick little trip into HE double hockey sticks to get a bottle full of ghosts. Spooky. Then we come back home and start to clear out some of the forest. The ritual of the forest from way back in the beginning of our journey has become completely overgrown with all of this new forest, but quickly I do manage to uncover it. I then get ready to start what I hope will be our very last ritual of the forest. At least I'm pretty sure this will be our last, since now it's already day 101. And while I can't truly say that I managed to bring life back to this world in 100 days, what I can do is start to lay out the ritual, which will help us get a token of fear. Other than the feather and the soul sand, most of the items for this ritual are pretty simple. We get the oak tree in the center to start to grow, and we start up our ritual. Though I was kind of lying when I said this would be our last ritual, because we actually need to make a totem of joy to balance out the totem of fear. And this ritual is much, much easier by far. Which doesn't make sense to me. Like, according to my depression, acquiring fear is much easier than joy. But I won't ask too many questions. Soon we have 2 of each token. That is super important. Again, remember that for later. What we have to do now is combine 1 of each token and a runic altar with the Ember ritual. Yeah, remember that one? The one where you have to do a guessing game, and if you get it wrong, it destroys your materials? Well, these particular materials took 102 days to make, so if they get destroyed, let's not even put that out there in the world right now. For this ritual, we do need some lead aspectus, which we make. What is much more difficult is trying to figure out which order we have to set this aspectus in. To be honest with you, this is really dangerous and could easily destroy a lot of my progress, but it doesn't matter now. I didn't come all this way to give up. I start to set out each pedestal with a new aspectus. But as we set down the infused iron in the middle, all we can really do now is pray and hope. With all of our science and magic and hard work, at the end of the day, it all comes down to just praying and hope. But sometimes prayer is the most powerful thing, and sometimes all you really have is hope. And it looks like someone up above has answered our prayers as we... What? Wait. Ah, shit. Dude, prayer sucks. It didn't work. And we destroyed the token of joy in the process. This means we only have 1 token of joy left, or we'll have to do this whole thing over again. And really, I still haven't learned anything. Well, maybe. Maybe we have learned something. Who am I kidding? Captain never learns anything. But at least I can try here. See, the alchemical waste tells us that we have 2 glowing spots, which means that 2 out of these 3 pedestals were actually set up perfectly correct. I decide to find out if the runic altar was right as we set up 2 iron and 1 lead with the joy on the lead. Again, I'm gonna be real with you guys. If this doesn't work, I'm just gonna straight up cut the video right here. I have no shame. I mean, guys, seriously, look at the runtime of this video right now. I am not lying. Oh, ouch. Another failure. And this time we lost 2 items. But, we didn't lose the token of joy. We still have one last token of fear, and we can just borrow this runic altar that we were already using. Again, we have 2 glowing spots, which makes me think that we don't need the Dawnstone at all after all. So maybe we can add just 1 more lead. We put 1 lead aspectus under both tokens and try just 1 more time. Seriously, this better work. I had that little speech about hope and everything. Okay. Whew, great googly moogly. We did it, boys. Finally, we've created an offering table worthy of the gods themselves. And yet, still no life. It would take me another 10 days at least to get anywhere close to that. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut my losses here. Already 102 days, and we failed our challenge. Yet, I wouldn't go back and change a single thing. This mod pack and this build was so much fun, and I really do hope to get to play it again and get even further. And I just might get the chance to do that, since the coming videos on this channel are going to be a little bit different from now on. 100-day videos have absolutely treated me amazingly, and I'll always keep doing them. But we might just throw in a couple of new videos very, very soon. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and probably cringing a little bit too, but hey, I know you love it. Until next time.